I believe that I am the best person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time. I'm a person who will spike the conversation, who will get politics rolling and stimulate new questions and new answers to our current political dilemma facing our nation. I believe I have a keen understanding of the economy and how to improve where we're at relative to other nations around the world. I believe that our goal at America's Third Party was to create a very strong platform in which would propel the American people forward with new opportunities and a new possibility of creating a better nation, a cleaner environment, and less war. Person for the job of President of the United States. My unique talents give me the ability to be assertive and diplomatic at the same time.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to America's Third Party. I'm David Sponheim, and I'll be your host tonight for a full 4 hours remaining in our show, live broadcast. We do a pre-show 1 hour before the show to get warmed up, and we don't record that, just kind of loosely talk and have fun. But this is the recorded broadcast, so I kind of like to talk about the issues and get those things out of the way right now. We have a Dow Jones that dropped 173 points today, indicating a very, very pre-recessionary trend in the American marketplace. So many people are not happy with the fact that Trump hasn't ironed out his problems with all his trade tariffs and the trade war that he said, oh, we could easily win a trade war against China, no problem. That just is not playing out and resonating among the American voter. So that's a problem. We've got other issues that are pending. He's stepping on Jewish leaders, ironically, being Donald Trump is a pretty much ardent supporter of AIPAC, American Israeli Political Affairs Committee. Jewish leaders are outraged by Trump saying Jews disloyal if they vote for Democrats. I mean, this guy is stepping all over the political process, crapping everywhere because he's relatively retarded and doesn't know what he's talking about most of the time. And we're allowing this guy to just basically spew crap everywhere or vomit everywhere, and it's causing a lot of problems. Because he seems to be so loose-lipped, everything about him seems to be destructive. And he's put our country in jeopardy of having all kinds of rifts forming. Not only can he figure out who is his loyal supporters, his Jewish population who believes that he's supporting them, he's actually dividing them. I mean, this is how divisive he is. He's dividing the people that are supposed to support him. So, being he's attacking a couple of Democrats who are making claims about Israel receiving too much money from us, Ironically, that one of those Democrats, Ilhan Omar, totally blew it when she talked about how much money Israel was getting. And we told you last night that she said that they were getting $3 million a year, over $3 million a year. They get $3.5 billion a year. So not only is she wrong, but I mean, it's like the Democrats have a bunch of Democrats talking instead of people that really understand that Israel is our ally. And Democrats should not turn against Israel. They need to focus on anti-Zionism in its current state. A new world order is progressing, and that's not something I support. I'm sure many Jewish people don't want a new world order too. And no one wanted to take this control of Israel and now want to control the world except for these Zionists. And that's the real problem. Trump is a Zionist. Biden is a Zionist. And by the way, Hitler was a Zionist. Everyone should know that. Hitler supported Zionism and supported the Balfour Declaration that created Israel. Most people don't know, why would Hitler support the creation of Israel? Why do you think he killed all those Jews? So they'd have a reason to create Israel. That's one starting point. We can talk about that. This is Truth Tuesday, and the truth is, we're running out of water.
In a world where base rules the planet,
We are now virtually drying up. Our country is becoming evaporation zones. LA has faced yet another drought, and we need a solution. So we came up with the Ocean Pipeline Project in 2005 and started developing ideas to desalinate water. I tested one of these units out in my own area here, and it gets 3 gallons of fresh water a day. And what it is it desalinates salt water by letting it evaporate on the inside of the dome, and then drops of pure water land here. And here you can grab a glass and drink it. Or you could actually, decant some pure water from it and actually spray it on your face like this. So, this is an exportable idea that we can develop in America and start to sell around the world if we can. The important thing is to create more fresh water. That's the big thing, everybody. We need more fresh water, period. You want to grow food? What do you need? More fresh water. You want to save people money? What do you need? Cheaper and more fresh water. You want to grow food? More fresh water. You want to grow aquaponics? You want to grow shellfish? You can do it in seawater and in fresh water. We need more fresh water. So the Democrats don't get that. The Republicans don't care because all they care about is money. And here we are promoting a centrist movement that really wants to take on big projects like this and make them simple and easy to install. These units can be installed in a day. We can create a 200-mile pipeline across the desert, pulling water out of the ocean and desalinating it for, I'd say, 6 months of time it would take to do a 200-mile run, say from LA to Vegas. We use solar and wind power water pumps to move the water from place to place, and they work really well. I have a solar powered water pump in my pond, and my koi fish get fresh oxygenated water every day through my sand filter. Actually, it's a lava rock filter. I was told not to use sand. But yeah, it's a great way to actually create fresh water is by pumping it into an open area and letting it desalinate. So this is an idea that really will help the country and the world create more fresh water. And it's something that I will be leading with. This is my idea. It's not Donald Trump's. Sarah and I developed the idea, and we actually wrote about it in our book, Hybrid Capitalism. So what else is in the news today? We've got Trump says U.S. is far from a recession as White House economic anxiety mounts. Yeah, well, tell that to all the people that are living on the street that Trump and his Republicans don't care about. The 5 million people now without a purpose or a life or any home to live in. Yeah, if you're not a non-GMO soy, if you become a soy farmer, become an organic non-GMO soy. Yeah, that's way more valuable to me. Don't become a soy farmer, become an organic non-GMO soy farmer. Thank you. And yeah, we'll get you water. You can see the koi pond. It's in my YouTube videos or the early stages. You'll even see the seawater pipeline about 10 years ago. I've been doing this show for about 11 years, going on 12 actually. I know. My hairdo is really anything today. It's definitely not angel hair pasta. Well, not true. Most of the homeless aren't in Democrat-run states. I can think of a couple places that have homeless, like Texas. There's homeless people in Houston. Yeah, but you may be right about most, but that's a good point. I'm a Pisces. I'm going to go with that. Yeah, okay. Most of the homeless are in democratically run states. I agree, and they're not doing their job to help it. And plus, need I remind you, those are the states that wanted illegal immigration and sanctuary cities. So yeah, I have some novel ways in which we could mix up the population and deal with the border crisis. That's a big problem right now. The border crisis. Oh, Houston is run by Democrats? Oh, okay, I stand corrected. Then yeah, you're right. Only the Democratic states have homeless problems. But you got to admit that the Republicans don't really care about homelessness, right? That's safe to say, right? I would hope. Yeah. Right. The ocean pipeline could have fisheries in it, and we could actually harvest fish out of the water itself. Absolutely. We could even raise fish while it's evaporating. Yeah, going back to that idea. Happy birthday again. This is every year you have a birthday. It's like a recurring thing, isn't it? Isla Fry says it took her 2 hours. I'm sorry, him 2 hours to get in here. You are transgender, right? Okay. 2 hours to get into our show, yeah. I know. I believe you. Mark is censoring heavily, and we've got more than enough proof of that, but for some reason a lot of people don't want to believe that, but whatever. I try. Trump is putting off a meeting with Denmark because they won't talk about selling Greenland. So Trump really wants to buy Greenland, even though we don't have any money to buy it. I think Denmark is willing to offer us money for our country, so we may want to look at that. Trump, Donald, if you're listening, you may want to get a deal on our country, and you could maybe make a profit on selling America to Denmark. Oh, that's right. He already sold it to Russia. Russia said, we will destroy you from within. And he said, we will take over America. You know, Khrushchev said that he will take over America without a fight. Well, apparently that's happening right now. I mean, Trump probably sold half of America to Russia already. I mean, how can we sell it to Denmark? Many of you people who are still voting Democrat think that Nancy Pelosi is going to do something. The woman can't even take a dump. She looks like she's so constipated, it's all up in her face. I mean, seriously. You had to reboot 3 to 5 times nightly. Thanks, Mark. Pennsyltucky Ducky came in with his statement. Check this out. Yep. Seems like it, yeah. Chat's coming up. I have to reboot 3 to 5 times every time I come in here. Isn't that amazing? Look at that. Howie says, I'm not a name, I'm a character. So, Howie, I take it your name isn't really Howie. Nancy Pelosi. I think they should impeach Nancy Pelosi and move toward impeachment. Because she is absolutely the worst Speaker of the House the Democrats could have chosen. They would have been better off with Ocasio-Cortez as the Speaker of the House. Seriously. And I'm not a big Ocasio fan because I think she's lying about her economics degree. Anybody who could not understand that Amazon was getting kickbacks on their taxes wasn't a cash award. I mean, what was she thinking? She cut an Amazon deal to buy property and build a huge business in her home area in New York. And she said, well, we could take that money and build homeless shelters. You don't get that money. That was a tax break for Jeff. Whatever. Jeff Bezos is going to get a tax break for building a building there, and she thought that was $1 billion she'd have in her pocket. You don't graduate with an economics degree from Boston University and not know that that's opposite. Okay, I'm sure we don't want to talk about Ocasio-Cortez. I mean, who would, really? I mean, there's so many other things to talk about. Like, what's for dinner? Hey, everybody, what's for dinner? This is the average Trump supporter who really is kind of lost. You're getting nostril hair problems? Why don't you use one of those nostril hair removers available at your local Rite Aid? And Walgreens has them. They're like $9 or $12, something like that. Yeah, thank you, Howie. Self-deprecating humor does work here. That's a good start. It's the first time we've seen self-deprecating humor from you. It's a nice move, actually. So Trump is not going to meet with Denmark because they won't sell him Greenland. Can you believe this guy? I mean, how can he even function as a president when he doesn't even know what he's doing? This is an atrocity of executive branch gone wild. It's like Girls Gone Wild, but executive branch gone wild. I know, poor AOC only gets $200,000 a year, and she can barely make ends meet in and around the DC area. She's just so poor, I guess. I don't know. I think Ocasio is really just a person looking for attention. I heard she won on a contest to become some sort of they actually had a contest to get her in the race in New York. Anybody would have won that. Anybody could have won it. I think Kim Jong-un ought to run for politics in America. He could run as, he's so close to Donald Trump, he could probably be Donald Trump's VP in the 2020 election, don't you think? I'm announcing that I'm going to be running with Kim Jong-un as my vice president. He was born in Honolulu, and he'll be working directly with me through the Pyongyang North Korean assembly created by Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, yeah. I think it's a good idea. Don't you think Kim Jong-un should run for VP with Donald Kim Jong-un on the next ticket? Pence, I don't know how Donald is going to win with Pence on the ticket. I just don't know, especially when the Republicans want to rig pro-choice and pro-life laws and make sure that pro-life beat pro-choice. People aren't going to want Pence. The majority of the people in this country want a woman to be able to choose. Now, a lot of you are concerned about that and realize that women shouldn't kill babies. And I agree, in essence. But I don't want women to have to suffer. And all you holier-than-thou art people who are so pro-life are like, oh, you should hold on to the baby. Oh, never hurt the baby. Yeah. How would you like to live in a world where your mother and father hate you? And you live with nothing but crap around you in a dumpster? Do you want more dumpster children growing in America? Because if women don't get the right to choose, there'll be dumpster babies out there all over the place. And you'll wonder, oh, what an atrocity. How could anyone leave a child in a dumpster? Upstate has a propaganda piece. Okay. Washington.edu. All right, I'll take a look at it. No, Sarah was not mail order anything. God, what a ridiculous insult to me. I'm just saying the Republicans are so happy that they rigged the election with the Russians' help that they want to stack the Supreme Court with, Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, who allegedly raped a woman and likes beer. You like beer, Senator? I like beer. What an idiot. And you got all these people, conservatives like Gorsuch, who was a part of a group in college called Fascism Forever. Oh yeah, they're going to flip on Roe v. Wade. You know it. So if you expect the Democrats to win in this election because Donald Trump is so foolish to have Pence as his vice president, you're probably right. Biden could choose Mickey Mouse and he could win. I think Donald Trump has got a big problem with the popular vote that really beat him in the previous election. So if Trump wants to somehow win 2020, it's going to be pretty hard to do with Pence on his ticket. Pence is like dead weight. Now, granted, Pence is so weird and Christian and beyond belief, he thinks he's empowered by Jesus himself. The guy is freaky weird that people are wondering, wow, okay, so he becomes president when this loose-lipped nutcase, Trump, who's a clown, decides to step down or whatever? We're a little bit freaked out about it. So Biden looks better and better. That's why the Democrats are leaning toward Biden. Plus, he's got that incumbent thing going on, having been a vice president before. But we all know that Biden is very touchy with children. And he actually reached down, and we have photographs of him reaching down and touching a little girl's breast on camera. And he reached over to a 13-year-old and said, yeah, you remember that one. I could play it for you if you want. Should I? Yeah, Biden is just so weird. It's like, okay, that's choice between evil and eviler. Trump has no other choice than to put me on the ticket, you fool. Trump will not win with Pence as his vice president. No way. Biden is weak. I agree. But Biden would be smart to put me on as VP too. Biden creates a stronger ticket if he brought me in. I could go in either direction, and I don't care which way I go at this point, as long as America gets a better president. Because I've been pitching this third party for how long? 11 years? You get the whole concept, but what we really want is a centrist president. A man who's willing to listen to the left and the right and not push gun control on the Republicans and not overly tax people like the Democrats want to do. Yeah, that's the problem with the Democrats. They don't have any holes on their spending, but they got good ideas, but they don't know how to implement them. They don't know how to get ultimate contract choices made. I mean, a lot of Democrats cave in to contractors who just throw huge projects in front of them. That's been a problem, and that's why a lot of Democratic states are overburdened with massive bankruptcies now. So they need a good fiscally sound blue dog Democrat to be their centrist VP, I think. I think Trump-Sponheim would actually be a good move for Trump. I really do. But Biden-Sponheim would be good too. I guess I'm a little biased there. It's not all about me. No. It could be about any number of other things. It could be about Abraham Lincoln, a person Mad Dog detests. A person Mad Dog says was the worst person that ever lived because he truly hurt his people of the South. You know that Abraham Lincoln, the truth is, he supported slavery? You know that? He reluctantly wrote the Gettysburg Address when he realized he had to pull the country together. So should we get rid of the Lincoln Memorial because Lincoln supported slavery like the Democrats want to get rid of anything, any edifice, any monument? You know that when you go to D.C., I was just in D.C. about 3 or 4 weeks ago, you can't even get to the Jefferson Memorial. It's all boxed down. Trump has not bothered to fix it, the Jefferson Memorial dedicated to democracy. Partly because, it's politically incorrect to actually help Jefferson's memorial because he was a slave owner. Yeah. Same with all the other presidents. They look down upon, they frown upon our great presidents because they were slave owners. So the overly uptight white guilt Democrats, all they care about is catering to a small enclave of African Americans who are still upset about the slavery period, even though they're not even remotely connected to the ancestors that were here originally. Maybe they discover their roots, but believe me, with affirmative action, everybody's had a chance to get a head start over the past 50 or 40 years. Since affirmative action has been put in place, many people have had lucrative careers who are African American, Hispanic, or Asian. Elizabeth Warren being one of them. Allegedly a Cherokee Indian. She's now apologizing to the world for having done that. She apologizes for her heritage claim. How come Trump doesn't do something about this? Excuse me, Abraham, I got to ask, could you just step out for a bit? Thanks. My fellow Americans, I would like to point out this woman, Elizabeth Warren, is a fraud. a downright fraud, and no one should ever consider this woman to be a presidential candidate. She apologizes for her heritage claim, whose Native American voters at the forum. Look at this woman claimed she was Cherokee and then collected lots of money to go to college. Not just any college, Harvard. And then she became a minority professor claiming to be Cherokee. She owes this country $500,000 minimum for illegally getting a degree. Yeah. I believe. She shouldn't even begin having less than 0.5% Cherokee Indian. This woman should be arrested for perjury on her affirmative action papers. Trump says Jews who vote for Democrats are disloyal. So now he's pissed off the entire Jewish world. Oy vey, there's a lot of Jewish people out there. And they're not going to necessarily vote for Mr. Trump. How dare him think that they should vote for this Mr. Trump? They could always vote for Biden. Biden's very supportive of Israel, yeah. I'm okay supporting Israel. I'm not a caved-in Zionist New World Order puppet like Biden and Trump are. I don't know, Berenstein Bear. Yeah, and somebody should ask Elizabeth Warren, how did you survive those years with such poverty, getting free money from the government to go to college? Many of us, including myself, was a victim of affirmative action, and she's basking in the glory of using affirmative action, even though she's as white as I am. Actually, I'm more Native American probably than her. So Trump cancels his meeting with the Danish Prime Minister after she refuses to discuss selling Greenland. Thank you. I applaud this woman. Mette Frederiksen for being so direct and sparing a great deal of expense and effort for both countries, which apparently have few pressing matters to discuss absent the gigantic and seemingly absurd real estate purchase. So instead of talking about the melting ice in Greenland, Trump decided to change the subject and said, ooh, why don't we just buy Greenland? And now it's been in the news for the past week and a half, or 1 week. She's a total phony, I agree. Trump couldn't come up with a way to answer to the climate change, the melting ice caps in Greenland, which is seasonal. He couldn't answer to that, so he just says, well, we should just buy Greenland. What an idiot. My God, how can you people even begin to think that this man is leading our nation when our stock market is dropping left and right? It's absurd. Okay, calm down there, buddy. Okay, $700,000 for an apartment. That's right. The cost to solve homelessness crisis is soaring in LA. So, according to the Democrats, they don't want to create tent cities. They don't want to help mobile service units like we do. They want everyone to have a new apartment for $700,000. See how out of it they are? They're completely lost, the Democrats are. They don't even know how to begin to solve homeless because they don't even understand the mindset of homeless people. I actually lived among homeless people in my life. I purposely put myself in a van at the beach in Venice, California, living day to day when I was a young man. But these people are living squalor, man. This is really, really sad. And the Democrats, they don't even have a place they can give them a tent city with bathrooms. This is insane.
Living on these sidewalks 24/7. It is trash. It is rats. It is unchecked garbage. People lying in their own waste. People using buckets for bathrooms.
I've heard enough. If it's dinner time, folks, I'm sorry, but I didn't want to interrupt your dinner. Yeah, they're saying that Skid Row could be a breeding ground for the plague. Seriously. I wasn't quite a hobo. I grew up in a middle-class family. I had a pretty good life up until 18 years old when I said, I'm going to experience life in the rough. So I went out and bought a VW van, and I customized it. Put a nice full bed in it. It was a Westphalia van. I pulled the top off and made a big bed and put a speaker system in it and carpeted it and put curtains up. Took a lot of time making a really cool van, icebox, the whole thing. And I lived in it for 2 years. while I was going to college or not going to college, depending. I ended up using the van to deliver t-shirts all around the city of Los Angeles to all the rock stars. I worked for a t-shirt manufacturing company, and that was my first job, making nearly 20 bucks an hour when I was 18 years old. And I worked really hard. And I managed to, do the best I could to save money by living in the van. So it's pretty cool that, no, nobody's jealous of my van years. They were tough. I got involved with a woman that was really a bad relationship. It was really weird. At one point, I was raising 9 dogs in my van. 9 beautiful black Labradors. Yeah. And this woman that I had invited into my life had also had a dog, and it became pretty obvious the dog was pregnant rather quick. It was a nightmare. I literally jumped into the fire as a young man. No, I was not sexually abused. No. One of my best experiences in that van was waking up one morning after hanging out with a friend of mine on Bundy Avenue, or not Bundy, it was Gailey Avenue. I'm not gay. Gailey Avenue in West LA, and my friend of mine had an apartment out there, and I had, I'd spent the night at a party, and I woke up that morning, and I was like kind of like waking up, and I was laying on the base of my van, and I opened up the door with my little handle, and it popped open, it retracted, and I looked out, and Charles Bronson was running right at me. I don't know if you guys know who Charles Bronson. He was a famous actor, Death Wish. He used to live in the Westwood area, and he jogged every morning. And it's when you see a guy like Charles Bronson running straight at you. I wasn't frightened at all. Because I saw him as a movie star, not like the star of Death Wish. But he was running straight at me, looked right at me, and I was like, "This is like I'm living in a movie." It was weird. Yeah. Anyway, and at one point I did have to live with 9 dogs. Yeah. At one point, I remember this woman I was with. We had the dogs, and she'd just given the baby, and we were on the bed up above. We had the full-size bed in the van, and we were trying to find apartments. We were in between 2 apartments, so there were a couple days there where we were in the van. And the dog had given birth to puppies. So yeah, technically I did live in the van with the puppies, but I couldn't. I said, we're getting an apartment. We got another apartment right away. And the dogs ended up staying in the van. And I was out there taking care of them, and I found a remote place to park the vehicle. But I'd have to go out there constantly and take care of the dogs. She didn't bother to do anything. I was the one that found a home for all those dogs too. Every one of them I found a good home for, including my dog, the pick of the litter. He had the best markings. I ended up having him for only about a year because he ended up getting stolen from the van. Somebody broke into, I actually at that time I bought another vehicle. I had 2 vehicles, I had a van and a truck. And I was making good money, so I was using the truck for deliveries, but I was at a location in Hollywood with the dog, and it got broken into, and the dog disappeared. So that was the last dog I owned. But that was a pick of the litter out of all the 9 puppies. But that was a very strange period of time, and it taught me one big lesson. Don't get involved with a woman who likes to drink alcohol. Yeah. Oh, it gets better. I could easily elaborate on that story for a couple hours, but I don't talk about that time period much. I know it's going in my book, absolutely. But the bottom line is, if you have an early experience where you have a bad relationship, it's actually a good thing. Yeah, somebody stole my dog. Strange story about that too, but you'll have to read about it in the book. It gets better. Oh, even the whole beating place where the dog was stolen is another story. It's like a blossoming story. But yeah, you learn lessons in life. That relationship cost me about $4,000. And my credit card was maxed out. I'd basically maxed out my credit card and gone beyond my limit. And back then, in credit cards, they didn't have penalties for overdrafts. I was lucky. Yeah, it only had a $2,000 limit because everybody gets $2,000 when they get out of high school in this country. I brought it up to $4,000, and I was like, this relationship was over. I had to pay the bill off, so I just focused on paying the bill off. I told the lady, she said, yeah, your overdraft. I said, I'll take care of it. She said, okay. And so I did go to collection, but I paid it off within like 2 months. Had it totally wiped out, and I never ever used the card again for anything, except for maybe some credit card bills or whatever, short-term stuff. But the best thing you can learn in life is early on, don't get hooked on credit. I learned my lesson, and I also learned not to hang out with women who like to drink, because that was the sad part about that woman. She hid her drinking from me, and it was pretty pathetic. That's where the credit card went up, is like everywhere we went, she'd be buying beers. And they weren't just, nowadays, $6 a beer, it's going to put you out. Now at a bar, it's going to cost you $6 for a beer. You're going to go deep in debt pretty fast. I'd have a couple beers, but I couldn't keep up. No. I got to the point where we were, where I would just buy a quart of Coors for like $1.50, and I'd have a little glass of it and watch her down like 4 or 5 glasses of it, and then say, okay, you ready to go out now? Because that's about how she had to get totally drunk before she could get out on the, and then we'd go to a bar, and then she'd be a little bit more lit. She wouldn't be pounding the beers there at the bar. That's the only way I could control it. She would just like to get lit before she did anything. So, hey, she was a young woman. She did her own thing. She wanted her life the way she wanted it. It wasn't the right fit for me. But I know guys who were virtually stupid enough to get a woman pregnant at that age and get married and then divorced in 6 weeks and then spend the rest of their life in alimony hell. And that's an even worse experience. A lot of guys spend 20 years with a baby in alimony hell from that kind of experience. So it only cost me $4,000. That's not much. And it's a good lesson to learn, I'll tell you. I don't track my old girlfriends, no. That wouldn't be something I would do. I'm sure I'll meet a few people eventually that I knew when I was in elementary school. They'll probably come up and say, Dave, do you remember me? And I'll go, wow. Do I remember you? I remember you all the time. It was a great time. I knew a lot of beautiful women in my youth, and I really am kind of sentimental about that. Yeah, it's a touchy thing when you look back in time and go, what if, No, alcoholism is something you can't really control in somebody. If you are trying to enable the alcoholic, that's not good. If you are trying to stop the alcoholic, that's not good either. Only an alcoholic can change individually. There's no way anybody can do that for them. You like Waiting for Chicken is a good name? You like that? No, I'm in a 40. I'm working toward a 38 right now. I'm loose in a 40, so I'm not worried, but I'm not extending my workout schedule for you. Yeah. Jeffrey Epstein's lawsuits offer sordid details, including sex while on work release. Apparently, we talked about Epstein being with a young girl just 2 days before he allegedly died. And as you know, I don't believe he's dead. But lawsuit offers sordid details, including sex while on work release. And he signed a will just 2 days before he died by suicide, if he indeed died. I talked about this last night. The truth is, Epstein had $7 billion. Yet now the wiki says he has $1 billion. That's been altered. So the wiki has been altered. That means that Epstein has a lot of money to hire a tech-savvy guy to alter the wiki. That's been altered. Last year it was $7 billion. Now it's $1 billion. You check Jeffrey Epstein's net worth, $1 billion, they say. And according to the will, it's $577 million. So somehow Jeffrey Epstein snaked away about $6.5 billion, and nobody knows about it. So we're supposed to believe that $6.5 billion just evaporated? So there's a lot of discrepancies there that are very suspicious. Mark, his brother, is going to inherit the $577 million, but he's got connections to Jeffrey. It's possible Jeffrey's still out there wanting to get access to that money, and Mark is going to enable him. If I were involved in this, there would be a grand jury investigation. The Jeffrey Epstein case would be wide open, and we'd be on a manhunt for Jeffrey Epstein right now. There are things that are coming up about people that knew him. Yeah, this is the story where Jeffrey Epstein spent time alone with a young woman in the prison's attorney room just 2 days before he died. Come on, the guy didn't commit suicide. He didn't spend two hours with a young woman in his attorney room 2 days before he died, so he'd just end up killing himself. This guy is a serial molester of children. And his cohort, Ghislaine Maxwell, supposedly had some sort of reveal picture sitting with reading a book in an In-N-Out Burger in Los Angeles. But there's a problem. This picture has some significant anti-aliasing, especially right in this area. You could practically see the straight line as this image has been patched in and then airbrushed. She's not wearing a fleece sweater, so that's not fleece coming off her sweater. That's airbrush. That's blurring tools. That's Adobe Photoshop, especially in the area right here. That's not a normal picture. So, in lieu of the fact that along with the picture in the background, doesn't add up, there's been a couple pictures they've been analyzing. Makes people think that this was a fake picture, that Ghislaine, as she likes to be called, Ghislaine, it's all, the jizz part is soft, it doesn't have a pronunciation, it's Ghislaine Maxwell. She's probably not been seen for some time. They claim she's in Massachusetts hiding in some house. But the fact that the FBI is not opening a full-scale investigation into this woman is suspicious. Yeah. Very suspicious. Now, we know that former Secretary of Labor Acosta said when he testified that he did not pursue a very stiff sentence against Jeffrey Epstein in the Florida case because he was told to back off because Epstein was part of the intelligence community. That being said, none of that has come out of the mainstream media that Epstein is part of the intelligence community. And that's been out there for a while and nobody's working with it. No journalists are allowed to talk about it. But that fact is an overriding fact that makes one believe that he has faked his death and he's now molesting children again. Because he has so much dirt on politicians that he's protected. Ghislaine is a silent, it's not Ghislaine like we thought it was. It's Ghislaine. Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah. Donald Trump has spent time with Ghislaine Maxwell. Here he is in a picture in his Studio 54 days when Jeffrey Epstein was going around. He's been seen in photographs soliciting women with Jeffrey Epstein. Donald has. And there is Ghislaine in her earlier days. But many people believe that that's a photoshopped picture of her. And what was really strange about the Ghislaine story is that she actually has a book she's reading, which is a book about CIA agents being offed for going against the CIA. Yeah, it's a very suspicious book that she's reading. So people know what the book is, and it sends a very strange message overall. Yeah, it's like, don't mess with me kind of thing. It's like she knows too much. So if the FBI pursue a case against Ghislaine Maxwell, it'll be a miracle. I seriously don't think that they're going to pursue anything because this is a stand-down order that even Acosta was told to follow. This is a serious allegation, and now we're finding out the guy was intelligence. Nobody's talking about it in the media. I'm the only one. No, he's real. Epstein's real, but he's definitely probably faked his death, in my opinion.
You fought in World War II preparation?
No, Preparation H has been lying incessantly to get noticed in the show. He's claiming he's 96 years old, and we don't believe him.
It's very difficult to, I mean...
She does look beautiful. You look beautiful, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much.
You have your hair up. And... Okay, we're going to go ahead and get the... Yeah, he claimed... Yeah, Preparation claims he's 96. Well, whatever. Yeah, I don't believe that.
That's cool that you're embracing technology and chatting, if it's true.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, I know my grandfather, who did fight in World War II, he had one of the first like online newsletters. He sent it through like an email kind of newsletter before there was like they limited you on how many emails you could send out, or before they called you spammers. And he had this thing he sent out called Grandpa's Garden Notes. And so, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I like my my coat and all that. According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, 496,000 American veterans from the war were estimated to still be alive in September 2018. Calvin Leon Graham was the youngest U.S. serviceman to serve and fight during World War II. Following the attack on Pearl Harbor, he enlisted in the U.S. Navy from Houston, Texas on August 15, 1942, and he was 12 years old. Oh, Mad Dog's birthday's Friday. Happy birthday. You're turning 51? August 23rd. Very good. Oh, God. No. I don't want to deal with you. I don't care. Okay, sorry. You're going to see Driving and Crying. It's a band, Driving and Crying, and that's what you're doing for your birthday. Nice. Well, I'm glad that you shared that preparation. Sorry, that was my don't want to see you. It was directed at somebody else. You're going to see the David Sponheim experience tonight on our show. That sounds good. Senator says, loose lips sink ships. Hello, Marty1. True Blue's dad's birthday was August 17th. His friend's sister was August 18th. So many August birthdays. True. I know a couple of people. My brother had a birthday in August. I know another person whose birthday is in August that I don't really... Yeah. I haven't really looked at David's hair tonight. Hello, Bengalitis. Hello, all you waivers. Maybe that's why they do it. I don't know, Howie. Maybe I think that women think men want certain things, and women do certain things, and rather than talk to men about what they really want. And they're afraid to ask men, what do you want? Maybe they do I don't know. Maybe they think that's what men want, especially men that think that women don't wash. I know you like me because I always respond to your comments and questions. That's good. That's what you want. Like begging or literal kissing, Flax? So I got bit by a mosquito the other day. Oh, good. You can't see it very well. Good. Oh, yeah, there you can. See that redness? That was one mosquito bite in the garden yesterday. And then it swelled a little bit last night. I tell you, it's like still a little itchy. I definitely know. I'm allergic to school. No, I'm not allergic to school. Allergic to mosquitoes. Somebody wrote in something about school. They are not back yet, Isla Friesen. Hopefully they're not full of all those things. Yeah, it's like there's, I was in the garden yesterday, so there's like one mosquito in the garden, and it found me. Hello, Music Clef. Hello. An apiarist is a beekeeper. That's good. Yeah, that's good since you don't really hang out in the where there's a lot of if you don't really hang out in the woods or next to water, then I guess you don't need a bodysuit to be bug free. Yeah, no need to buy things you don't need either. I don't even want to read it, McDundee. Yeah, those smell. I don't want that around me. That's like a lot of chemicals, Flax. Wear one of those, like, fabric softener anti-static cloths. Ugh, those are so gross. I hate that. Yeah, they keep the bugs away because they're, like, full of chemicals. I will never even use those. Severe muscle aches. They say you should rotate hot and cold packs. So do a hot pack for like 10 minutes and then a cold pack for 10 minutes and rotate them to in order to relieve the muscles. Have you seen a chiropractor? I remember I had some whiplash and did that. Some people do recommend. I don't do marijuana, but I know some people take marijuana for pain. But yeah, there is an Avon product that it's true that did help with mosquitoes when I used it. It's called Skin So Soft or something like that. What's a dab? Well, there's either the dance move, a dab, or it's highly concentrated THC marijuana base that they have. Highly concentrated THC that they smoke in some kind of a dab, the dance move. It's like that. Like something like that. Not very good, but oh yeah, maybe Antiques YouTube will do it. The thing about working, I wouldn't work under the influence of THC. That's definitely, I wouldn't recommend that. Yeah, I will consider wearing a bee costume next time I go to the garden. Especially, I was just wearing like a t-shirt and got a mosquito bite. And it started swelling up. Goodness. Okay, to be able to work with neck pain, maybe a neck brace so that your neck isn't moving, something to support your neck. You know, they make neck braces. If I had to make fun of myself, what would I make fun of myself, pick on myself for? People used to say I was like a walking dictionary. I was like a bookworm. That's one of the things they picked on me for. Know-it-all. Allergic to mosquitoes. Wear a neck brace when I show up for school on the first day. That would throw them up, shake them up. Yeah. That's funny. Hello, G Nightcloud. SciTechDaily.com. Almost 150 billion spent annually on illicit drugs in the U.S. Wow. I don't have any recommendations, Antique. None at all. Summer's Eve is what I hear, but I don't have any. Oh, is this... some kind of dance, Mad Dog? I think the answer to... What do you think, I Love Fries? Yeah, that's a good point. Preparation. David, kale, he'll eat kale as like kale chips if I make them for him. But he's not a big fan of kale. Oh, Soul Child, you had an awful dream. I'm sorry. Flax says acupuncture helps the neck. Oh, that's pretty crazy. Like it wasn't just cow bones, it was like cow meat. Maybe it's like a sign, don't eat too much meat. I decided I like the way that Yahoo News is laid out. Is it Yahoo? Or, anyway. Or don't go to restaurants. Wow. Your neck sounds like there's sand in it when you turn your head. I have a little crick in my neck. Yeah, like right there. Oh. Yeah. Thigh bone's connected to the hip bone. Hip bone. Yes. Berenstein, that's rude. Epstein signed a $577 million will 2 days before his death. Probably. I just said I did, like... Can I just close out of that? And better from that movement, just rotating your neck, it loosens up your neck muscles. Maybe. I don't think I'm going to watch a little bit of your video. Thank you, preparation. Working on it. Celery. It's okay if you de-string it and eat it with like ranch or... You know, or you could do the peanut butter thing. Okay, you started juicing celery and carrots, ate lots of cherries, eat fish daily, broccoli, kale, pineapples, apples. What is making you gain 7 to 10 pounds? Well, how much of it are you eating? It's not bad for you. America's Best Celery is usually good for you because it's like 0 calories. You're eating half a pound a day of cherries? Well, cherries do have a lot of natural sugar in it. Oh yeah, hot shower on your neck, that does help too. Oh, it is all like... I do feel like all the news is mass distraction. I don't think about him, McDundy. No, I have not. Maybe you do need to fast. I don't know. A show partner? For David, maybe. Thanks, I'm glad you like my frames on my glasses. I love my glasses. Wait, US? The US tested a ground-launched cruise missile. The Pentagon said on Monday it tested a conventionally configured cruise missile that hit its target more than 500 kilometers or 300 miles of flight. It's the first test since the demise of a landmark nuclear pact this month. Oh, great. Oh, that's what they were hiding on August 2nd. Thanks, Bernstein. The test would have been banned under the Cold War, under the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, the INF. But the U.S. withdrew from that treaty on August 2nd. A whole lot happened on August 2nd. Wow. They accused Moscow of violating the treaty, which the Kremlin dismissed that they violated it. They're like, we didn't violate it. The Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, the INF, prohibited land-based missiles with a range between 310 and 3,400 miles, which reduced the ability of both countries to launch a nuclear strike at short notice. Russia is saying they will not allow themselves to be pulled into a costly arms race, and they do not plan to deploy new missiles unless the U.S. does so first. They said that this test shows that the U.S. had long been preparing to exit the nuclear pact. Yes, this is pretty crazy. So on August 2nd, they lifted they basically said there is no debt ceiling. They increased caps on spending, so they don't have caps on spending. And then they exited a nuclear forces treaty. Wow. Yes, McDundee, if it existed. Wow. That's definitely definitely scary. So we're no longer have a nuclear treaty with other countries and testing nuclear weapons, and we get upset when other countries test nuclear weapons. We could set an example for other countries. If this is an example, it's not a good example. So the U.S. has tested a nuclear weapon that would have been
Obsolete 10 years ago.
no, that
Would have been disallowed.
they on August 2nd, when they increased caps on they eliminated the debt ceiling till 2021, increased caps on spending. They also exited the International Nuclear Treaty.
Right.
And now, just recently, they are bragging that they did a nuclear test with a land missile that can go over 310 miles, and it hit its target. And Russia and China are like, yeah, you're increasing tension. We're
Yeah.
not going to be drawn into this. And they're like, and the fact that you tested so quickly shows that you always had you were preparing for a long time to exit our international treaty.
Yeah. Well, in a way, Putin has done the same thing with numerous developments. He has pushed the envelope, threatening the world with the ability to go 27 times the speed of sound with a weapon. So he breached it too. But my contention is that Putin and Trump are working together on this because, remember, the military-industrial complex makes money on these weapons. They want to ramp up. They don't want SALT agreements, strategic arm limitation treaties. They don't want the type of nuclear non-proliferation treaties we've held to in the past. The moneyed interests are pushing this game on both sides, I believe, and it's at the risk of humanity. So we're looking, I think this is a classic case of just money gone wild, looking for more profit in conventional tactical nuclear weapons. And Trump just sold Saudi Arabia a slew of nuclear weapons. We don't even know how many. And he didn't get congressional approval to do this. So Congress is too slow, too weak, unable to stop this, and the people that run Trump, the moneyed interests, are able to do whatever they want on this level. We're not moving toward world peace. We're moving toward a trigger point.
And
We need to change the entire paradigm that we have right now. It's leaning toward profit and corporations. It should be leaning toward people and opportunity and environmental friendliness and sustainability. So we've got a big tilt we've got to reverse, and the Democrats, Republicans are clearly corrupt. I don't promote any drugs at all. No. Yeah, we need non-GMO beers. We need filtered water in all of our soft drinks and our beers. We need the government to step in and do this, and they're not doing that. The Democrats don't care if you drink filtered water in your soda drinks. They just want to worry about, taxing you on your sugar water. They're not even worried about the quality of water we're drinking. I mean, it's crazy. The Democrats have always, in the past, many years ago, cared about the environment. Now they just care about profit.
okay.
Yeah, so the Queen is annoyed at the Crown's cruel depiction of Prince Philip, the history of Prince Philip. That's a minor issue. They've also got Prince Andrew to deal with, and his a connection to Jeffrey Epstein. So the Queen is kind of reeling from all of that, I think. I don't think you should worry about drinking unless you have an addiction where you have to have it every day. That's a problem.
I think that we will adapt and we will survive.
We will
Dr.
survive.
Neil, even with climate change. I kind of find I kind of like their layout and their news, instead of like they group all the things together. It's like a
Yahoo kind of
spattering.
throws it in there slowly.
But yeah. Anyway.
So another airline has taken the Boeing 737 MAX off their lineup. So Boeing's losing business, and business hurts, and that may be the bottom line. Boeing doesn't seem to respond to anything but the orders and the money that they get in. Thank you, Sarah, for a great help. You don't have to come back if you don't want to.
Okay.
This is still your vacation time. I want you to enjoy yourself.
I kind of am just listening.
If you don't come back, I'm okay with that. I mean, I want you to give me that one break is the big one I needed. Yeah, fish has mercury in it. Absolutely. We have a lot of pollution around here. I mean, the world is not perfect, but we're not even trying to make it better. We're making it worse by doing nothing. Why are you praying for her? She's tired or something? John, as a representative of Mark, you're not here to talk. If you want a conversation with Dr. Meow, do it somewhere else, not as emissary for Mark. Thanks. So what was wrong with her? She had a neck problem? Sarah said, do you want a neck rub, honey?
No, somebody was coming in and saying, what do I do for neck pain?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Some chatter came in.
Yeah, Trump wanted to roll back the Clean Water and Air Act. We need to impose even stiffer penalties and at least start innovating and get the government to do something. The Flint water situation needs to be dealt with. We need water filtration from the U.S. Navy positioned there in Flint, Michigan, for them to filter their water so they could get ample, good, clean drinking water. Let's take one thing at a time. Obama didn't deal with Flint. Trump's not dealing with Flint. I would definitely get them all the desalinated water. And anybody who wants point of use filtration, we would ramp up an entire industry to make sure you get clean water. There's nothing more important. Even if we have a robust desalination system, we could even make filters for all of you to desalinate salt water. That's a possibility. So you can imagine every household having a bucket, a special bucket that if they were near the ocean, they could get their own fresh water if they didn't have any. These are completely possible solutions. Oh, I'm serious about clean water. We've got to get on track with that now because we're gearing up for about 10 years of drought due to climate change. Mostly as a result of not you going to the bathroom or flatulating. It's not necessarily cows flatulating either that's causing global climate change. I believe that chemicals are being dumped on our heads to create artificial climate change. I believe they're accelerating the process of climate change from 50 years down to 5 years. I believe the powers that be are purposely, aggressively polluting the planet right now. And their agenda, which was Agenda 21, which ironically was a good idea to clean up the environment, is now being bastardized by the richest, scummiest profiteers on Earth. They want to make money from the environment and they want to charge you for fresh water. They want to charge you for clean air. So they're literally dumping chemicals in the air and manipulating the weather, screwing up the atmosphere, and we're sitting around letting them do that by not voting third party, by simply going along with the status quo. Well, let's be clear. Some people think I have a tick of saying, let's be clear. All I know is that your flatulence is not the cause of global climate change. So relax, okay? I know a lot of you are kind of wondering if you were, normal or abnormal, or if life was, just because you have a few moments of flatulence during the day, it's not your fault. And you're not the cause of climate change like the Democrats want to make you think you are. There's people like Jay Inslee, who's my governor running for president. It's pathetic. All he talks about is cap and trade legislation, which has never proven to actually get rid of climate change problems like greenhouse gases. They say 17% reductions by 2030, but they're guessing. And it just creates a huge profit mechanism for rich corporations to buy a dairy digester and then continue dumping pesticides in rivers, like Dow Chemical does. Okay, so let's just go with the given that we are polluted, okay? No matter who you are polluted to some degree. I am human, like you. I drink water and eat food. You are polluted. There's food going in your body that you don't know if it's genetically modified. The truth is, we don't even know what's going on. But you can steer away from bad foods by eating organic. And they have conducted a test recently that said eating healthy, organic, non-GMO food will prevent cancer. They found a reduction in cancer in people that do that. That was a landmark study. I remember Waterloo, the Alamo, Bunker Hill. Yeah, I remember Custer's Last Stand, man. I've studied world history, and I can tell you we've fought for this, and we better get our act straight or we're going to lose it. We're already seeing our country being sold off to major corporations. Look what Trump did with Utah. 95% of all public lands converted to industrial waste and cyanide use to gold mine. I mean, and they're going to put a big signature on global climate change. There are 16 transport vehicles that move shipping throughout the world that are the worst polluters of all. They have a footprint that's big. So we could actually get on 16 different container lines and help them clean their mufflers. Literally, their smokestacks can be cleaned. We can develop urea scrubbers for them so to take down a lot of that pollution before it gets in the atmosphere. And we sure as hell definitely can stop chemtrails that are being dumped in the sky by presidential order. I'll be retraining the entire U.S. Air Force from the top down. I'll be taking in my commanders and telling them the Air Force is not going to be working for chemical polluters like this ever again. We'll be meeting all of the pilots personally and talking to them about what they've been doing and how they feel about it. If they think they're somehow protecting the atmosphere by spraying chemicals in the atmosphere to somehow ward off the sun, I would ask them to show me the science behind that, because I have yet to see it. There's no stratospheric aerosol injection that's going to completely cool the planet in that. If you have radio frequencies bouncing off radar and sonar systems throughout the country and cell phone systems, you put a blanket of chemicals over it, you've got yourself a microwave oven. So I'm not sure where they're going with this idea of a shield from the sun. I would live at the White House, absolutely. But I wouldn't necessarily live at Camp David. I'd rather live at David's camp. Hardly. We're adding enough heavy metals to the atmosphere to lower the magnetosphere in and of itself. You're not taking into account the heavy metals we're dumping in the atmosphere. Let's talk about the buffet at the White House and what we're going to do to get you guys a good meal when you pay $14.99 actually $15. Well, first of all, you're going to be able to walk away with some pretty cool napkins with nice gold inlays of the White House on it. We're talking about a swag bag. Yeah, you'll be given a swag bag from the White House. You can take some stuff away with you. You won't be able to take the cutlery out because there'll be metal detectors at the door to see that you're not stealing the cutlery. So you have been removed from the show. There's going to be some major salad bar action. Salad bar is really important to me. I definitely think a taco bar and a spaghetti bar and a pizza bar and a sushi bar are in order. So we couldn't even compete with the other buffets if we didn't have all those, right? Scaramucci took him all of being told you're fired to learn that Trump is a liar, Joe. Scaramucci's convinced that Trump likes to lie. He thinks it's fun. he's a smart guy, but again, a lot of Republicans still standing around supporting Trump. They must be crazy. I mean, Trump clearly is off his rocker wanting to buy Greenland. The planet isn't dying yet, and we've got a lot of production going on, in case you haven't noticed. It turns out it's not exactly good, but good food. I'd like to feature organic food at the White House. And that'll send the message to people to eat organic. That's helping the planet, isn't it? If we talk about organic food production, don't you think that would be good if a president would just grow some balls and talk about good quality food? Harrison Ford says, if we don't protect nature, we can't protect ourselves. Whoa. Here's a picture of him. Oh, no, this is a monkey. No, a baboon, excuse me.
Shit out of time. If we don't stop the destruction of our natural world, nothing else will matter.
Geez, who's that old man? I think he took too many flights on a small airline. No, I agree with him. I totally agree with him. We've got to do something to deal with this disastrous environmental meltdown. Let's start with pretty much pulling plastics off the market. What do you say? Banning plastics might help, but we can also price up plastics to kind of phase them out and tell plastic companies they can sell basically corn-based plastics with corn in it. And that would be a perfect use of the GMO corn that our farmers are forced to grow now that they've, been sold a bill of goods. We can't eat that corn, but it can go in our plastic bags and it'll make them biodegradable in about 3 to 5 years. Yeah, I know. Well, if the ice caps continue to melt at the rate they're melting, Greenland will be a larger landmass and will be full of green. There'll be greenness everywhere in Greenland. So it's not such a foolish idea to look at Greenland as a piece of property, but Denmark's not going to sell it. It's just weird that he changed the topic from climate change to, oh, we should buy Greenland. Somehow that's going to change climate change. Yeah, plastic straws are being phased out in my area. I actually had to ask a lady at Starbucks, do you have these plastic straws? And she reached around the corner. It's like, well, if you have to have it. I don't think the Pilgrims were not crisis actors. Preparation H, I think you should go back to your girlfriend who you're lucky to have at the age of 96 and ask for some assistance here. That man is you, David. If some people hear statements are true that Sarah is a replicant. Are you saying that I'm some sort of a robot and Sarah's a replicant and she is my programmer? The Ark seed vault is filling with water. Well, the DNA gene vault is in Greenland for a reason, yeah. Trump doesn't have a position on climate change. He's bent over on that position. He doesn't believe that we have climate change. Trump is out of his mind thinking that there is no such thing as climate change. Can you imagine? And clearly we're getting 70 degree below zero temperatures in the Midwest. You guys remember that. And then of course here in the summer it was 99 a couple of weeks ago in DC. I was there. It was 103 degrees in DC. Luckily the day Sarah and I went there it was about 87, so we walked around and had a good time. But I told you I did not want that video being posted here about a guy stealing a dildo. I mean, please, take this show seriously. I've asked you 5 times. I am not CGI. That is ridiculous. Anyway, I think Donald should choose his buddy Kim Jong-un as a running mate in 2020. I think that's his best chance for re-election. Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un, and I believe Kim Jong-un may have been born in Honolulu. It's possible. If Barack Obama could fake his birth certificate, Kim Jong-un could too. Right, it's not my problem, let the next president deal with it. Well, I'm ready to deal with climate change, trust me on that. I'm ramped up to help get rid of the dangerous aspects of climate change precursors like chemtrails, massive use of glyphosate, the ultimate poisoning of our landscape and our air. I have to reverse a lot of things here on Earth, and I need the power to do it. I can't do it as some common guy out here in the middle of nowhere. Howdy, I'd like to help solve the world's problems. I could only do it if I were president, because the president has to lead on this, and Trump is so far behind on climate change, it's not even funny. Come on, Preparation H, we all know you're not married to Meredith. Meredith didn't pass away. I mean, come on. You're making up the story. My views on coal, there's 770,000 employees in the coal industry. And I want their life to be a lot easier, because I think coal is important, especially to our future energy needs. But we can create clean coal. It's just a matter of building a cycle of income profit for using every product made by the coal. We also have to make it easier for people to coal mine, so they have at least 45-minute breaks every 2 hours in air-conditioned, filtered air rooms where they can take their masks off and talk and play some cards and go, okay, go back with the mask on. Because keeping a mask on is the problem. A lot of these guys are pulling their mask off underground, and they're getting serious lung damage. I want their life down there coal mining to be a little bit nicer. But they should be able to keep their masks on with fog control for about 2 hours before they just burn out. But a lot of coal mining jobs will remain, and we're not going to go to automation in that department. Well, I do know something, Preparation. I've been tracking you for 6 years, and your current radar shows me that ChatDar indicates you are not 96 years old. If you were, you wouldn't type so fast. For one, your syncopation in your typing is too quick and too responsive, and you hardly ever make errors. That defines you as being within 60 to 65 years old, at best. Currently, the ChatDar reads that you are living in a home in a small village outside of Des Moines, Iowa. Is that correct? Remove your PC fans and warm up your room quickly. Yeah, burn out your hard drive. You're not living in Des Moines, Iowa? Huh. Bummer. My ChatDar failed me. Hey, Miley Cyrus and Caitlyn Carter are kissing everywhere. Yeah. This is, she just left Liam, and now she's kissing this woman. And I think it's an important story to talk about. These two are getting it on. Yeah. Little lesbo action going on at the Soho house. That's what the rumor is. They're seen together making love, literally touching each other incessantly. They are pansexual. Miley has got new albums out, and she's pretty hot, and so is Caitlyn Carter. So who am I to say what people should be doing with their time? But is it really important we talk about that? No. The U.S. removed almost 2.7 million barrels daily of Iranian oil from the market, according to Pompeo. Well, that's nice. What's that going to do for us? We mean we have less oil in the market? Is the price of oil going to go up? Well, we don't buy oil from Iran, but other countries do, and 18 countries trade with Iran, including Japan, and they're pissed. So as he's bragging, our allies are pissed off. It's not helping us any. I don't know where they're going. Does he have a game plan here? What's his end game? Just to somehow starve Iran out? They're not going to go away. No, we simply have to end the sprays. We have to end aerial spraying. It's that simple. We don't need to do anything dramatic to restore our ozone layers or to actually restore the magnetosphere to its original position. We simply have to stop the sprays. That's all. This is not rocket science here, folks. They're trying to do weather modification, have been for years. Everyone's been denying it and calling anyone talking about this a whack job. This is chemtrail 101, folks. No, Miley is not Madonna clone. They don't even look alike. No way. You've tracked Miley Cyrus's career from the beginning, Bengalitis. I mean, there's all proof that it's really her. Yeah. Well, yeah, your stock in Chevron is trading at $116 a barrel. That's unusual. Yeah, there's no way they're cloned. There is one star that Avril Lavigne has. They believe has a body double, but I think she's doing it because she's suffering from lupus, and she has a person that does stand-ins for her when she's not feeling 100%. Inside is the plus-size party celebrating big bottoms. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what to do with that, but I'll play it tonight as Truth Tuesday continues to go deeper into the truth about wide-bodied people and how beautiful they are to each other. That's a weird thing to talk about, but whatever. Thanks, Howie. Now we know what kind of women Howie really gets into, the big-bodied women that smell. Poor guy. You must have a real problem with smells. He has this thing about women smelling. Betty White. Now you're talking about old women now, giving you some validity like you're supposed to be 96 years old. Oh, God. Please stop talking to Anne in such a negative way. Anne's trying to migrate to a transgender life.